Kind words are the only ones we need to speak. Good vibes in the corner here, but Karanique. Good vibes in the corner here, but Karanique.
Quick for you guys, I did have a big gender reveal as you guys saw in the beginning, but we celebrated the wrong gender. So if you're interested in hearing that story and how that all happened, make sure you guys stay tuned. But I know people like to find out the gender super fast, so I want you guys to know that I'm just coming here to shop for the correct color for the gender, and then I'm gonna go home and surprise the kids with the correct gender. After they pop the color of the gender that it actually is, then I will hop into my story time and let you guys know how all the craziness happened. I think I see the baby gender aisle already. Baby gender stuff. Let's grab it real quick and go so I can tell the girl and the boys at home what we're having. Wait, first before we go in, what's your guess?
I think it's a boy.
Okay, go.
Boy.
What's your guess, Jordan? Baby boy or baby girl?
A baby boy.
Okay. Ella, boy or girl? Boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay. No, I'm just recording this part to let them know that I got them ready, but they decided to wear costumes instead, so it is what it is. Oh, this
oh my gosh. What do you guys think it's gonna be?
I think it's
a boy! 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, so it is a new day. I did end up just chilling with the family and enjoying the fact that we all knew now that we were having a baby boy, but I wanted to share the story time of how we celebrated the wrong baby gender. So like I mentioned, I did have a nice gender reveal party, but we celebrated a baby girl, and in the video you can see that I was crying. It was just because I just had my mind set on a boy. From the moment I took a live pregnancy test, which I haven't posted on here, I said, I can't wait to meet you, son, and it came out so naturally because I was convinced and I just felt in my heart that I was having a boy. When we went to that place, I should have known from the beginning that it was an off day because they didn't send me the new address to the location. I had went there previously for my 9-week check. It's not a doctor's appointment. They just tell you if you're pregnant and what the gender is, and they'll do 3Ds and stuff further along. So they're with you through different stages. If you want, you're paying for their service and they just tell you those things. So I confirmed a pregnancy at 9 weeks. The lady that did it at 9 weeks, she was super chill. She was super confident in what she did, and she made me very comfortable. So I was like, okay, I'll go to this place again. I've always done things like this because you can find out as soon as 14 weeks, as opposed to if you wait to find out the gender at your doctor's office, you gotta wait till 20 when they do like the full anatomy scan and they tell you like well, they don't tell you, but they send in the measurements of the baby's like legs and arms and the heart pictures and stuff to your doctor, and that's when they'll tell you your baby's gender. On my other babies, except for Avery, because I didn't know these places existed, I went in to these type of places. This was a new one. It wasn't like the ones that I went to before, but I was like, they all do the same thing, so I was confident in them because they've never been wrong. But when I went there, he had given me the wrong he hadn't sent me the new address, so I went to the wrong place, so I had to call him. Then Vera and I went there and we were walking around forever because it was like an outdoor mall and we had to find where it was, and so that took a long time too. And I was just like, wow, this is just an off day. And my oldest sister stayed home to decorate and do all the food and stuff like that. So we knew the gender reveal was gonna have to happen that day because we had already prepared for everything to happen that day, and maybe this played into why he just kind of gave us a gender. But when we were there, we mentioned like, yeah, we're gonna have a gender reveal party after this. I've always done a gender reveal party right after finding out, so I didn't think too much of it, but maybe it played too much on his mind. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But he said he saw the gender, but then when he was looking, he saw another gender. So he's like, I kind of saw a little bit of a girl and a little bit of a boy. And I'm like, oh my gosh. That's when I lost confidence in the whole day, but I was so excited for the reveal that I was like, maybe he said that to throw me off because he knew I didn't want to know. So Vera was with me to look at the screen and find out the gender for her to go and do the popcorn. So my theme was the she should pop in. So it was gonna pop out pink for a girl or blue for a boy. And she should pop in as in my stomach is a pop in, not like the gender she, just me as in she. It should pop in, like big. So anyways, I just had to explain that because for some reason I thought it was like a sign when I walked in, like she, like what? Anyways, so Vera was watching the screen, and so I thought he's probably trying to throw me off, so he said that, but it made me like really question it. And I told him, like, with this baby, I need the genders to be very I need you to be sure, like I need you to know that this is the gender. He's like, yeah, no, the baby's really active, they cross their legs, their the umbilical cord is always there, but I'm pretty sure I already saw the gender, so I'm just double checking. And he said that a lot throughout the visit, and we were there for like an hour. So I was like, okay, he's probably trying to throw me off, but okay, whatever, it is what it is. We leave the building actually, and Vera was kind of like, I wasn't too confident in him, and I'm like, neither was I. She's like, because I thought I saw certain things, but he said it wasn't. And I'm thinking, Vera, first of all, you didn't go to school for this, so I don't know what you think you saw, but whatever. Obviously, she does see some things because later on it ended up being the boy, right? So then we get home and we do the gender reveal, and it ends up being a girl. And so I do have this for proof. This one says girl. I don't know if you guys can read that, but on there it says girl. I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of really small, but it's pointing and it says girl. Every morning my son would wake up and tell me, because I do have a boy already, that there's a boy in there, I'm gonna have a baby brother. And he always said it, like every morning he was so excited for his baby brother. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all on the same wavelength, it's a boy. I'm so convinced myself. I've never been wrong with the baby's gender, even though this pregnancy was confusing. If you watched my gender myth ones, like some things were confusing, but majority of it pointed to a boy. I still always felt like it was a boy, even if it was confusing. Guys, I was so convinced that I bought clothes for him already on Amazon for the moment I knew I was pregnant. Like I was like, I'm having a boy, I don't even need to know the gender. I ordered clothes, I ordered things. When I went to Walmart, I saw some boy things and I grabbed them as well. And I'm like, I was like so convinced. And then when I seen the pink popcorn pop out, I was like, what in the world? Like I was so crushed. I'm like, what? I love any gender that I get. You have to understand that my mind was already set on a boy. So for some reason it felt like you were like grieving a child or something, which is kind of crazy, but I heard that that's something that happens. A lot of times when people get told one gender and then they pop out a baby at birth, they go through a grieving stage because that's what they were prepared for mentally. And it kind of just like, to me, felt like that. Like I was told one gender when I already was mentally prepared for something else, which I know you can't just do on your own ahead of time, but I mean, I've always known my baby's genders. I've always felt it and been correct. So to be wrong this time when I was so like ready for a boy, kind of was like, what? You know? But I loved her instantly too, but nothing ever felt right. When I would say her, it did not feel right to me. Like I would tell Jordan, like, I love her already, and it felt so her. Like it didn't really match. Like to me, it was like, this feels wrong. It didn't sit well with me all week until my anatomy scan, because I was gonna do one anyways with my doctor's office. So I had that one scheduled a week out also. So I went in there. It still didn't sit right with me. When I walked into the office, the lady who went to school for this was like, hey, what do you think you're having? Like just starting a conversation. I said a girl, but I said it in a way like my body didn't even feel right saying it. I just said it because that's what he told me it was and that's what we celebrated. But in my head, I was in denial still. Like I wasn't accepting it. It was like I was saying it, but it wasn't sitting right with me. So I laid down. She talked to me the whole time. I was looking at the screen for a little bit, but then I looked away because I realized she was doing all the measurements first. And like, I don't know what you're measuring. She's like measuring the skull and stuff, and she said the baby looked good, so she was just measuring him. And so I just looked away. And I was just like chilling, and she's like, what did you say you were having again? And I'm like, or what did you say you think you're having again? Because she didn't know that I went somewhere. She just asked me what I thought it was. I said a girl, knowing what I knew, and then laid down. And she's like, what did you think you were having again? And I'm like, a girl. And she's like, what? And then I look over And she's like, points at the screen, and I look, and this is what I see. This is what I see. And I'm like, is that? I was like, is that? And I look at her, and she's like, I typed it out, and I look down, and she has male, and I'm like, it's a boy. And I started crying, and I was in shock because when I was getting ready to go to my appointment, I thought, this is the appointment where she's gonna tell me that it's a boy. Like, she's gonna find the baby's body part and it's gonna be right. And I was so convinced that was gonna happen, and it happened. And I was like, I knew I was having a boy, but he told me it was gonna be a girl, so I believed him. And then she's like, who's he? And I'm like, the guy at the ultrasound place. There's like places that just tell you your baby's gender as early as 14 weeks, and that's all they do because they're not a doctor's office like you guys. And she's like, why did you go there? And I'm like, because I'm impatient and I like to know ahead of time. And they've never been wrong because they use the ultrasound and everything too. They're just not doctors. It's not a doctor's office, so they cannot tell you anything other than what they tell you, which is the gender, and give you some pictures. And she's like, oh, you should have came here, it's cheaper here anyways, but either way, like, you know, you would get the right gender. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so happy because this is what I wanted, this is what I felt I was having. Like, this, it's right with my soul. Like, oh my gosh, like, I'm having my boy, another boy. I have a son. People forget that I have a son because I have so many girls, but no, I have a son, baby Jordan, and I'm gonna have another one, and he's gonna have a brother. So anyways, I was so happy, and I'm like, I cannot wait to tell my husband. Like, he's gonna be so happy too, because he was like, you told me it was gonna be a boy and it's a girl. And she's like, I wish I could be a fly in your guys' car so you can so I can see his reaction. She's like, I'm so happy for you guys. Like, this is so, like, this is great news all around. And I'm like, yes, thanks. These are my favorite things. Yeah, I'm eat it. Jordan, I'm just filming. I can't eat and film.
You can.
Oh my gosh, this guy's eating my food. That's why I said in my thing, gaining. He hasn't watched that video. Okay, so anyways. Nothing. So anyways, I went in the car and I showed him right away. I was planning on just putting one of my baby boy outfits in a bag and the gender in there with it and surprising him later, but I didn't want to play on emotions because we were kind of both expecting a boy earlier. So I knew it was like exciting, and I didn't want to record him because it was such an intimate moment. I wanted to share that little time with him, and so we did that. We were super excited. He cried just like I cried, and yeah, now we have our boy that we wanted. Another boy. We have a boy. I have to make sure I mention that because so many, like I mentioned, so many people forget that we have a son because we have a lot of girls. So we do have a boy already, and we're going to have another one. So it's nice because this is going to be our last child. I know we say that a lot, but this one really is our last kid. We're going to make permanent changes so that it is. And Jordan's right here. So yeah, and it's just nice because it's 6, so it's an even number, and it's a boy. Like, we're ending off with a boy, so it's nice. So we'll have 2 boys and 2 boys and 4 girls. So that's my story. I wanted to add that in for you guys. Now I can go and finish eating my food that Jordan's actually eating right now, and yeah, glad I could get that in for you guys. If you guys have ever had, oh, I wanted to tell you guys also, Jordan was looking up reviews of that place, and that one person gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and they said I would give them 5 because they're actually really nice and I loved the experience, but they said I was having a girl and I ended up having a boy. So I was like, after reading that one too, I was like, I'm convinced that they got this wrong because I already feel my heart is a boy. There's just no way to me. So we got it done again anyways because of my doctor's appointment, and it was correct. So I'm excited for that. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had an experience like that. I know I have in my family where someone told them, I've had actually this happen a couple times in my family where they've gone in for their first appointment and they said a girl, and then they came back and it was a boy. My person told me it was a very clear boy, so she wasn't sure how he got a girl, because she's like, every time I go by his privates, like his bottom area, his man parts come out and it is very clear, and she's like, and that part's actually measuring like way ahead of everything else. So I'm not exactly sure how he saw a girl, but whatever, it's a boy. So but anyways, I've had people tell me they went in for the first, it was a girl, but when they went back in for another checkup, it was a boy. So I've had that. I've even had a family member going their whole pregnancy as a girl, and then as it popped out, they were like, oh, that's a boy, and it was awesome for them as well because they wanted a boy too, so they were happy. But either way, yada yada, it seems to happen. Let me know in the comments below if it's ever happened to you guys, and that's all I have. Thanks for always being in my corner.